Hello and welcome to another edition of Workforce Water Cooler. My name is Leslie, and I am so happy to be joined by John and Brian together. The old gang is together again, and I am so excited to see your smiling faces. And we have a great topic to talk about, the network job and education fair for new Americans that just happened, and it was a huge success.
Huge.
Huge. Very large,
Huge.
very big. So, Brian, can you give a little background just briefly into how the event came together and what it was?
Absolutely. So yeah, we have done these targeted hiring events before the pandemic. So this was the first one of this focused population that we went after here in the last, almost 3 years. So I was involved on the partner side a little bit when I wasn't working for the workforce board and working for the local ESL and JD program. And so, but this has happened a couple of different times where we've tried to target opportunities for immigrants and refugees of different English levels to find local job opportunities. Because the story, and we've shared it many times, anybody that will give us an ear, we will share that there are a lot of people working that live in our area, but they don't work in our area, and they don't even sometimes work in our region. And so we want to move that needle. Some of that's out of just necessity, some of that's out of good practices that employers out of our region have cultivated to make it supportive for new Americans, and a lot has changed and improved with local employers. And so we just opened it up this year for employers to participate, but we actually kind of put them through a screening process, which I don't think happened as much in the past. We really wanted to play matchmaker, so we wanted to make sure people understood who they were getting, who this audience was going to be, how they could present themselves at the event to reach them, and ultimately how they could even showcase how people are currently working for those companies. So, I advised all the companies, if they've got any new American employees, any existing immigrant refugees that speak different languages, can speak to the quality of the job opportunity or the employer. Mm-hmm. And some took us up on that. Some did have, multilingual staff there, which just adds a lot of credibility and shows that they are already welcoming and supportive and a good place to work and good job opportunities. So yeah, we think we pulled it off very well. I mean, we were just, overwhelmed with the turnout, but we do want to make sure that employers are getting plenty of people. And we heard from employers that they got lots of applications. Those that brought paper ones walked out with a stack. One employer even left 2 hours early and said, "Oh, we're good." we're good. We got interviews scheduled for next week, so we'll be following up. But yeah, we think that we gave them a load of people.
So rough estimates, and I know it's hard because this event, we held the event at Holy Spirit Catholic Church. They were kind enough to let us use their large, I guess, sort of like a multi-purpose room, and it was great. We tried to keep the crowd where we could, manage numbers, but we had so many people flowing in, it was difficult to keep an accurate count. Just based on quick registrations alone, we had at least a couple hundred, if not more.
Yeah, we collected over 170 forms from people. We think a lot of those not those, but other ones walked off, and then we weren't able to get them. And we had some high school students that came, and we didn't have them fill out the intake unless they were looking for work. But we had four high schools and groups of students that came throughout the day.
I'm horrible with numbers, as you all know. I'm going to say that we had at least 300, maybe more people show up as far as, job seekers. Would that be close? I don't know. I'm not good at this.
I feel like it would be, that you had to see it to believe it, but because of the communities that we had there, I mean, there were moms and kids and fathers, and so I mean it was a packed house. Obviously, there were little children there. That's not something you would see at a normal job fair, but but this is an audience that they're going to bring their kids, and I don't know. It felt like a lot of people. It was
yes.
it was buzzing in there.
Yes.
Yeah, we have to give big props to our partners that brought a lot of people to turn out and promoted the event. We had some really key partnerships this time. I mean, we always rely on our partners to drive traffic to the events because all of us have different social media and reach and influence with job seekers or just the clients that we work with. And so, yeah, International Center brought students out. SkyCTC, ESL, and GD programs promoted it a lot. Job Corps was represented at our event, and they're a great training provider. Community Action promoted it a lot. The Partnership for Refugee Immigrant Families promoted it. Crowd South, who's been working with our campaign, I shouldn't say our, but a campaign, Bowling Green Works, to get people in the area to look at the job opportunities we have. They did their own paid ad and put it out, and according to their analytics, it reached over 30,000 people. So, I mean, it's just tremendous, the reach that this event had. But yeah, it did draw several hundred people.
Well, and we drew people from outside the region. And so we're still getting a count on that, but we know that we had some folks drive down from Louisville they were Cuban immigrants that drove down from Louisville because they had heard about it. So we believe we had some folks from northern Tennessee come up, but we're still kind of collating all the data, and we'll have that kind of at our fingertips soon.
Wonderful. Well, what I wanted to really focus on as far as this event is the employer side of it. What did you all see as far as employers? What did you all see? What from an employment standpoint, how was this event different? What did you see that made this different?
Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we tried to prep, like I said, a lot of the employers on the audience that they were getting. We really tried to make it comparable sheets or resumes for each employer, so there was something at the table that listed the main things and support opportunities that they had for new Americans, people of different English levels, wanting to know what English level was required. That's, this is simply trying to make sure we're not trying to put, squares and round holes that has happened, I think, in the past. So like, oh, we're hiring, but we've got, a load of expectations on what that is. And as long as you meet them, you might be considered. We really wanted it to be pretty plain what was being offered by each place. But yeah, I mean, I think there are varying levels of engagement that the employers, brought from the way their tables were decorated, of course, to how they stood up on their feet and talk to people, and again, the paper applications that they might have had that they could take back and say, we got this many from this event we just came back from. So I would say that on a whole, the employers showed up, and I congratulate them because they showed up for this community, and it shows this community who is willing to work with them, and hopefully that word of mouth is out there for a long time after this event.
John, what about you? What's your take?
So I want to be a little more critical, I think. I mean, we pre-screened the employers. We were trying to select employers that had a proven track record of hiring our new American community. It was interesting in the room because you had employers that had paper applications, they had staff that were very engaging, and they were really doing their best to make it simple for the new American applicant, regardless of English language proficiency. That's on one end of the spectrum. On the other end of the spectrum, we had employers show up and said, well, here's my QR code, apply. And I understand, I can understand, some of that, in terms as an employer, digitizing and streamlining the application. I get that. But I think the digital proficiency of this audience is probably all over the map. And you can't,
Yeah.
I don't know that you can count on that it might, even though that's making it easier for you as an employer, you haven't made it easier for the applicant. And so there's a little bit of know your audience. You got this far, you got in the door. Think about your audience and think about what can we do. We might have to deviate from our normal practices to reach this audience a little bit better. So just saying, hey, I'm glad you're here at my table. Now fill out this here's a QR code, go.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of when you do self-checkout at a grocery store or even now a restaurant. It's nice to have a pad and you can do it yourself and maybe go at a pace you're comfortable with, but it's always nice to see that one register still be open, that you can just go like, I don't want to fool with it. I just want to walk in there and have somebody else zap this stuff and take in my information.
Right.
Yeah.
One of the things that I just kept sort of thinking about this is we so often hear, and not just because of our workplace, but just, when people talk, we so often hear the phrase, nobody wants to work anymore.
Yeah.
We hear that constantly.
Yeah.
And what I saw at that event was a room filled with people.
A large room
Filled with people who want to work.
Yeah.
And I think for employers, making adjustments, and I don't think they would have to be huge adjustments, but making adjustments to incorporate more new Americans into their workplace would be such a win-win. For the employer, for that individual, and for the region, because that way people are staying here rather than driving out of the region or maybe out of the state. But I just kept thinking, nobody wants to work anymore. Sorry.
This talent pipeline is much bigger than any of us know. In this talent pipeline, once you earn trust, and if you're a good employer and you're trusted, they're going to bring a lot more people through your doors.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's going to make recruiting very easy for you because your employees will do it for you. It is a bigger pipeline than any of us can imagine. But we've got to figure out how to overcome these real world hurdles of safety and English language proficiency and other aspects of work environments. But if the employers that can figure it out, you're going to get a workforce, and we know it's possible because we have an employer in North Tennessee and an employer on the north side of this region that are out hustling.
Mm-hmm.
And they're manufacturers, and then one's a manufacturer, one's a distribution center, and they're out hustling all of us. They've got it figured out, and we're trying to assist our local companies with how to be more competitive with this.
Yeah,
and connecting them to this talent pipeline.
Right, and I think we are definitely making great strides.
Oh yeah.
Toward that. I really think that we are. And something that really impressed me too about the people who showed up at this event, I'm sorry that my dog. I was so taken by the kindness. So many people were, even if they didn't speak English fluently, we were able to communicate, and it was just, these smiling, kind faces. I'm big on nonverbal, and I can tell you, I felt very welcomed by so many people. So many people I was walking around the room taking pictures all day. I've got a lot of pictures. And so many people, I would ask, may I take your picture? I would communicate that. And so many people would say, you get in here with me. And it was like, oh, okay, I will. So I've got, it was like, you come too, you be a part of this too. And I know that's just a small moment, but it really, the day was so refreshing for me, so refreshing. And I hope it was for, the job seekers and, especially employers. Sometimes we have job fairs and we never know, what the turnout may be. Well, my goodness.
Yeah.
Multiple employers told me it was the biggest job fair they had ever attended. And I don't know if you received comments like that.
I heard one say it was the best that they'd ever been to. Yeah, I think a distinguishing factor was, again, just if I could say one word, relationships. So, I mean, it takes a lot of partner relationships that, it's a big team effort to do this. And again,
Yes.
from Refuge Bowling Green to the city of Bowling Green, we've had a lot of places that have built relationships with the immigrant and refugee population, and we're promoting this. And so if they trust that source, they will trust to show up and come. Now, we have to trust and help hold the employers accountable for people that sincerely applied, and want to move forward. And if they don't get to move forward, then where else can we, direct them to go to? So, it's all about exposure and helping them find an opportunity that is a fit, because they just kind of have to show up and know what that is. Because like John said, the other places are well known. The competing forces and influences are well known to just go somewhere else and not look locally for jobs. So hopefully, again, they know what's available now. And there's a lot more. There's more than we're represented at our event. We even had some employers that just couldn't make it because of the way that the date fell or their own internal, staffing stuff. But the more we can get these opportunities out, that's who we want to help. And one event and one big space is a great way to do it. And obviously it was successful and people will show up for it. And we didn't even have to tell them come for food or gas cards or anything like that. A big partner new this year to this event was Eureka. And, they went and picked up a lot of people in different parts of town. And then we just can't say how well this event would have gone without mentioning our dedicated personnel, Anna San Cristofel, New American Workforce Navigator. All the other times when we did this event, there wasn't a dedicated staff member to kind of take reign on a lot of it and promotions, and that happened. So Anna did phenomenal, and it just goes to show the power of connecting with a person.
Anna did a lot of home visits, and she worked a lot of weekends.
Mm-hmm.
She went to a lot of different cultural events on the weekends to socialize this event. So I knew we would get a fair number of folks because of all the effort and planning that went into it for 3 months. Mm-hmm. But when I walked in that morning, it exceeded every expectation. I mean, what was it, Brian? We had 80, was it 80 people arrived almost an hour early?
I don't know if it was that many, but I know we had at least 200 in the first 2 hours. But yeah, we had a group show up before it even opened up.
Yes,
they were ready. They were
ready. It's
ready.
like, wow, and again, it goes back to the nobody wants to work anymore. Well, sorry, these people want to work, and they've actually showed up an hour early to the job fair because they want to work. I mean, how often does that happen? So I can't say enough good things about the event. Anna, my goodness, what a tremendous resource. She really was a huge factor in the success of this event, as were partners. But my message is employers, we workers are out there. We always have to learn to adapt to changing situations. when we had COVID hit, everybody quickly learned to adapt. And I think employers are going to have to do the same thing, because when we're looking at a lot of open jobs, we have to start looking at, okay, we have a group here and they are ready to work. They are available to work. They have their work authorization. They're good to go. What minor adjustments can you make in onboarding these people so you can fill these open jobs?
Mhm.
I mean, that's my take. So
Leslie's hot take.
one of many. So any other last words, at least for today? Because I mean, we're going to be talking about this for a while. This event was a very big deal and something that I think we will want to continue. But any parting words on the event itself? Anything you want to end with, gentlemen?
I'll just say I'm really proud of the effort that was put into this by the whole team. Brian's given a lot of accolades to our partners, and rightly so, and alluded to Anna. But the whole team, both of you put a lot of hours and effort into this, and it showed. So I'm very proud of the work you guys put into it. It was a phenomenal event. I wish more of our employers and more of our community leaders could have shown up and seen it. It was something else. There were more people there at that one event than the other 20 hiring events that I think we've had this year combined. I mean, it just blew everything the other 20 we've done didn't even hold a candle to this event. So it was very impressive. And so thank you both for leading that effort.
Yeah, I'll just say it was fun to be a part of it. I mean, it was a lot of work, but it was fun as well, and it was great. One of our partners came in and he's like, "It's beautiful." Like, it's just beautiful. So that'll be my parting word too. It was beautiful.
Well, that's a good one. I can't top beautiful. That's I can't top that. But yes, great event. We will be continuing conversations like this with employers across the region. But with the event just happening, I thought it would be a wonderful time to discuss from the employer angle the importance of events like this, and this group of this workforce group that we have that I think is really underutilized right now. But I want to thank you guys. I appreciate both of you being on the water cooler today. Look forward to our next episode. I don't know what the topic will be yet, but it will be awesome. I will tell you that much. I can guarantee you that. All right, guys, you have a good rest of your day. Viewers, thank you so much for joining us for this episode of Workforce Water Cooler, and tune in next time.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yes. Bye-bye.